They met at the wrong time. Not because they didn't care, but because life asked too much from both of them. How it started: they weren't looking for love. It just happened. A conversation that lasted longer than expected. A laugh that felt familiar. A connection that felt easy, too easy. From the beginning, something felt different. But timing has a way of complicating even the best things. Part 2, the problem with timing. She was trying to rebuild her life. He was chasing a future that didn't slow down for anyone. They cared deeply, but in quiet ways. Neither wanted to admit it out loud. Because admitting it would mean choosing. And neither of them was ready to choose. So they stayed in the middle. Close, but not close enough. Part 3, when feelings grew, the feelings didn't disappear. They grew. In late night messages. In unsent texts. In moments that felt like almosts. They knew what was happening. They just pretended they didn't. Because loving someone at the wrong time feels like holding on to something you know you might have to let go. Part 4, the goodbye that wasn't dramatic. There was no big fight. No dramatic ending. Just distance. Fewer messages. Longer silences. And eventually, goodbye. They told themselves it was for the best. Maybe it was. Part 5, life goes on. Time passed. They met new people. Built new routines. Smiled in new places. But every once in a while, a song. A memory. A random thought. And suddenly, they were back there again. Part 6, what they learned. Some love stories don't end with forever. Some end with understanding. They taught each other how love should feel. Even if they weren't meant to keep it. And that mattered. Ending, strong outro. They were right for each other. Just not at the same time. And sometimes, that's the hardest kind of love to let go of. Part 7, the questions that lingered. Sometimes, late at night, they wondered what might have happened if timing had been kinder. If one decision had been different. If one moment had lasted longer. But life doesn't rewind. It only moves forward. Part 8, when they almost reconnected one day, out of nowhere, a message appeared. Simple. Unexpected. Hey, I was thinking about you. Their heart paused for a second. Because even after everything, some feelings don't fade, they just learn how to stay quiet. Part 9, the conversation that felt familiar. They talked again. Carefully. Respectfully. Like two people who knew how fragile the past could be. They laughed about old memories. Avoided the hard questions. And pretended the silence between lines didn't matter. But it did. Part 10, realizing the truth. They both knew something had changed. Not the love, but the moment. They were no longer who they used to be. And that was okay. Because sometimes love isn't meant to be reclaimed. It's meant to be remembered. Part 11, acceptance. They wished each other well. Not out of obligation. But out of genuine care. And for the first time, letting go didn't feel like loss. It felt like peace. Final message, very strong ending. Some people enter your life not to stay forever. But to show you how deeply you're capable of loving. And that kind of love never truly disappears. It just becomes part of who you are. Part 12, years later. Years passed quietly. Life changed in small, ordinary ways. New routines. New responsibilities. They became different people, stronger, wiser, more certain of who they were. But somewhere beneath everything new, the memory remained. Not painful. Just present. Part 13, the realization. They finally understood something they couldn't see back then. Love isn't always about staying. Sometimes, it's about timing. Growth. And learning who you are before choosing someone else. What they had wasn't wasted. It shaped them. Part 14, gratitude. Instead of regret, there was no bitterness left. Only gratitude. Gratitude for the laughter. For the honesty. For the feeling of being truly seen, even if only for a season. Some love stories don't need a second chance. They need understanding. Part 15, the lesson. Not every love is meant to last forever. But every love teaches you something. How to open your heart. How to be vulnerable. How to let go without hatred. And those lessons stay with you. Final words, closing message. They were right for each other, just not at the same time. And that truth no longer hurt. Because love isn't measured by how long it lasts, but by how deeply it changes you.
And the other. When one felt tired while the other stayed strong. And that balance shifted, again and again. Because love isn't always equal. It's shared. They celebrated small victories. A solved problem. A quiet evening together. A smile after a hard day. Moments that meant nothing to the world, but everything to them. Over time, they stopped chasing the feeling of love. They started trusting the foundation they had built. Trust replaced fear. Understanding replaced doubt. One night, years later, they sat together in silence. Not awkward. Not empty. Comfortable. Safe. They looked at each other and smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because they had made it through. Together. Love didn't save them from life. It helped them face it. And that's the kind of love that lasts. Some people fall in love once. Others choose it, every day. And those are the stories that stand the test of time. They learned that love doesn't always look romantic. Sometimes it looks like listening when you're tired. Like staying calm when emotions run high. Like choosing understanding over being right. There were days when outside voices tested them. People who doubted. People who compared. People who didn't see the work happening behind closed doors. But they stopped explaining their love to the world. What they had didn't need approval. They grew
who he wanted to be. Neither of them was looking for love. But it found him anyway. Their conversations were easy. No pretending. No pressure. Just laughter, late-night talks, and the kind of silence that didn't feel awkward. They understood each other in ways they couldn't. They ended them with a quiet goodbye. No blaming. No drama. Just two people realizing they met at the wrong chapter of their lives. Months passed. They both grew. He learned what commitment meant. She learned how strong she really was. Sometimes they thought of each other. Not with regret, but with gratitude. Because some people don't come into your life to stay forever. They come to teach you something. And sometimes, the right person comes at the wrong time. After the goodbye, life didn't suddenly feel lighter. It felt quieter. She reached for her phone out of habit, then remembered there was. She replayed conversations in her head,